2 p.m., and I would like to call to order the meeting of the Onondaga County Legislature Ways and Means Committee. Clerk, can you please call a roll?
Legislator May. Here. Romeo. Here. Denton. Here. Bush. Here. Hernandez.
Here.
Burtis.
Here.
Chair.
Here. Okay, seeing everyone here, are there any corrections to the minutes of the previous meeting? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. So now we're going to go with the presentation of resolutions and local laws, starting with the Department of Finance, a resolution approving and directing the correction of certain errors on tax bills.
Good afternoon. So item A on your agenda is the correction of certain tax errors. There are 6 in total. 5 are related to sewer unit charges, and the 6th one was a grievance in the town of Clay over the assessed value that went through the due process and judicial process for review and correction. So that's what's before you today.
Wait. Are there 6 within item 1A? Or?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
It's one resolution including 6 total corrections.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, are there any questions? Dan?
I'll move it.
So moved. Is there a second? Second, Leader Hernandez. Okay, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstain? The ayes have it. Item 1 is passed. So now we'll go to item 2, a resolution increasing the income limitation relative to partial exemption from real property taxes for persons 65 years of age or older.
Yep. So as we talked about last month when you approved the public hearing, New York State passed a resolution that increases the exemption for those over 65 from a total maximum of 50% to 65%. As in past increases to exemption, the county executive has been supportive of this, as has this legislature. So that is the resolution before you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from legislators? Nope. We have a motion? Dan?
I'll move it.
Thank you. Second, Leader Hernandez. All those in favor? All opposed? All abstentions? The ayes have it. Now we're moved to item 1C, which is an informational briefing on municipal bonding process.
So I think what you guys wanted me to go through is what I went through at facilities a little bit in terms of the total span of debt service.
Yes.
So as we see it, there's 6 steps in our debt process, the first being the request. So in March through May of each year, departments begin to put their annual requests together with the scopes, the dollar amounts ultimately submitted through the Management and Budget Office. Director of the CIP is back there, Dan Mulvihill. He compiles these out throughout the summer, looking at the 6-year spend plan. Obviously, we couldn't bond for everything in 1 year, so working with priorities with the departments and the county executive's office, ultimately putting a debt schedule together for myself and the county executive to review against the current financial status, ultimately culminating in the CIP book that is reviewed with you guys as part of the annual budget process. Within that, you guys, the projects are broken down by categories, the type of authorization, whether it be cash, capital, cash bonding, or potentially state or federal funding in there, and then the different types of projects. The next component, which is what has been before you this month, are the actual bond authorization resolutions. There's a lot of work that's done prior to those coming over to you guys. Any seeker documentations are pulled together by the departments, reviewed by our law department. The bond resolutions are prepared by outside bond counsel to make sure all the maximum authorizations are there for any previous resolutions. So there's, a month or so of work that's done before these authorizations hit your desk for final approval. I do want to remind folks the authorization for bonding is just that authorization. That does not mean we go out that same year and bond for these projects. So the next piece of it is really the bond sale. So each year we review the projects based on the department's spending plan. Also, Dan in our office works through any authorized and unissued at that point and where spend is. I continually talk about chasing the spend here. Onondaga County has been very successful in fiscal management, so we have the ability to chase that spend so that we're only bonding when it's necessary. So the bond process is actually kind of interesting. The last several years, we were one of the first counties that have been able to do an online bond sale, so you're able to watch that. We're able to do that right online. The 5th component is really debt service or debt management. So that's oftentimes what we talk about in the budget book. You see the debt service that needs to be covered each year. But it's more than that. It's also continually working with our fiscal advisors and folks to look at any, reissuances. Can we get a lower rate for those? It's also making sure that we're investing properly to be able to use those funds to offset our debt service. So the debt service that we pay every year isn't all in the budget book. We have reserved for bonded debts, and then to retire any debt. So ultimately, the last process is the redemption of any bonds. So it's kind of that fluid process. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Oh, yeah, I have one. Well, actually, two, actually, but I'll start with, you said March through May, and then you said we prioritize ones for the upcoming year. What do we use to determine, like, the priority? Is it, like, need right now, or is it?
Yeah, so obviously, it's the immediate need, obviously, any failing systems, things like that. And then countywide overall projects and things like that. So there's a variety of things, and it actually lays that out in the CIP book, how things are rated in there. And I'll send you kind of a link to exactly where that is in the CIP book, that it'll kind of lay those things out, how we kind of prioritize pieces.
Thank you. My second question, you mentioned bond counsel is outside. Do we go to the same person every time, or do we, like?
So we have had ORC, which is a national recognized bond counsel for years.
I just didn't hear you.
ORC?
Work.
Yep,
Thank you.
it's a nationally recognized council and stuff. We've been very successful with them, and that has been our bond council for years.
Thank you. Any questions from the legislators? Legislator Romeo?
Yeah, you talked about the bond management before, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to ask you to
Sure.
kind of explain it again. Maybe I'll get it the third time. With leftover and then using that towards managing debt. Can you go through that again for me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So obviously, if a project, let's just say a project was $1 million, and thankfully it came in and we only needed to spend the $700. If we had bonded for that, that goes into what's called the reserve for bonded debt, so we use that to pay down the principal in other years so that we don't have to actually take on new debt. So we basically roll that over so that we're not taking on additional debt. And also when we get the bond proceeds in, like anything else, we invest those in pooled safe things to be able to get interest and earnings, and that gets put into our debt service fund so that we can also help defer the cost of debt.
Any other questions?
We can talk about it off.
We'll talk about it, but yeah, thank you.
Legislator Denson?
So on the finance page, there's these bond issue documents, and I'm wondering, are those like the year-to-year reports of showing kind of where the county is and?
So I don't know exactly what pages, but there are definitely, every time we issue bonds, there's a QSIP that comes in that shows the debt schedule for each one of our bonds, and that's probably what's in the back of the budget book that you're looking at for each bond year that's gone out there. But if there's a specific page, I can look into it and potentially answer it offline.
Well, so they're like, it's /finance/bond issue documents is what I'm looking at. I can come up there if you want.
Yeah, want to talk, I was to say, you want to either bring it up or we can talk about it offline. No, you're fine.
Unconventional.
And then, so they have these years.
Oh, yeah, so those are the official statements for the bonds that, yep, so
And
that's
this includes everything?
for that year that we actually bonded for. Sorry. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah, Legislator Burtis?
Thank you, Christy. Just one thing I think that should be said, just because we authorize a bond here that it's smaller doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to bond for it.
That is correct. Under the rules, the CFO does have the ability to use cash instead. So yes, at the end of the year, oftentimes for smaller bond issuance, we will use cash instead of bonding. Correct. Thank you.
Any other questions from the legislators? Seeing none, thank you so much, Christy, for presenting. So now we're going to move to item 2A, which is going to be approving the classification of an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, accepting the short environmental assessment form and accepting and adopting the negative declaration in connection with the roof replacement at the Onondaga County Board of Elections. I believe, Archie was going to speak to this. Thank you. And Archie, while you're walking up, I'll just ask you to confirm A and B are connected, right? Like we can't do B without A, basically? of these two
Correct.
items, Chip.
Yes.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, folks. As Mr. Legislator just asked the question, the seeker is law within New York State that is a assessment of an environmental impact to each project using public funds. Right? So this is a negative declaration on this one, type 2 neg deck. It's pretty simple. It's an existing facility, and there's no impact to any environmental condition, whether it be natural or, community environment. So it's a neutral.
Thank you. Legislators, any questions?
I'll move 2A.
We have a motion from Leader May and a second from Leader Hernandez. So we're going to vote. All those in favor, item 2A? All opposed? All abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you. So now we'll move to 2B, a resolution authorizing roof replacement at the election headquarters in and for the County of Onondaga, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $500,000, and authorizing the issuance of $500,000 bonds of said county to pay costs thereof.
Yes, folks. So this is the project that I brought before committee last week, and it is a replacement of a large roof section of the Board of Elections building. The $500,000 should be sufficient to cover those costs and include the costs of removing the HVAC units on the roof and replacing them so that the roof and the curbs can all be, rehabilitated.
I believe you answered it at facility, but I'm going to ask it again, just like more for the record. But do we have like a timeline of when we're expecting this to go through and finish?
So the duration of the roof work is not terribly lengthy. Of course, once a roofer hits it, they take every opportunity with the weather conditions to, hammer it out, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's unlikely that we'll be able to do this until mid to late April to begin it. And we would have everything prepared in advance by the roofer. We would make sure that they were, so that the shortest period of time is used during that roof replacement.
Thank you. Are there any questions from legislators? Leader Hernandez, sorry.
I'm happy this is getting done. I'll move it.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Legislator Denton. Oh, you have a question? Comment. Leader May, sorry.
Thank you. A little bit off topic, but not really. There were 9 other capital requests, routine maintenance and upkeep projects that were approved in committee this month, and they are not on today's agenda. Because the legislature has a duty to maintain these taxpayer-owned community assets as if they were our own, and because every item withheld passed unanimously in committee, we'd like an explanation as to why those items are not on today's agenda. Why aren't we fulfilling that duty today? What's going on?
I could answer, but I am going to let Chairwoman Watts speak.
Yeah, so Leader May, as the email that you received, they are going to be on the March Ways and Means agenda, as we have delayed them by 1 month to give us time for 2 things. One was to get a better understanding, to make sure all the legislators get a chance to hear more about the bond process and be equipped in that, and to have outside counsel set in place prior to moving that to vote. So they will be on the agenda next month.
Thank you. So we'll go Legislator Bush, and then we'll recognize Legislator McCarron. Take your time. Or actually, don't take your time.
Okay. Back to the resolution before
Yes, sir.
us. I'm going to be voting no.
Okay.
I don't think it's good, wise expenditure of money to invest in that particular site. I am concerned about the safety for the people that work there and the people that come and visit. The parking is not in the best interest of people. Across 4 lanes of highway to get to this building. On site, there is not sufficient parking for people. It's time that we look for a facility that serves the people of this county, and to be putting up to $500,000 in this building and then start looking for something else, to me, is just not, spending money wisely. You could make a temporary patch if it's leaking and pouring in on people now, but really, it's time. It's just time to move on and get a facility that is adequate for our residents and for our workers, for their safety. Because we don't own that parking that's being used now. Who knows what's going to happen to it? And then to invest more money in this site just doesn't make sense to me.
Thank you, Legislator Bush. Legislator McCarron, and then Legislator Denton? Or maybe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just going back, I have a follow-up question to Leader May's point that I appreciate that people want a great understanding of the bonding process, and that's why a number of the items were removed. Why were only some items removed then and not all? The bonding process would be the same for all of them. And when we look at some of the other bonding projects, I think in the facilities, one is to remove various hazardous materials from county-owned buildings. That could be a potential health risk to our employees. I just don't understand the logic to get all the questions answered and better understand the bond process, how that only applies to some of the agenda and not all of the agenda.
Understood. Oh, I like going back and forth. Chairwoman Watts?
Excellent question. So in terms of what our understanding was from the previous meeting was that all of the other bond items were not as urgent, that we were pre-approving them essentially for when they were needed. However, it has been expressed to us that this Board of Elections roof, we're getting pictures of the roof falling in on our folks, and so there was a more urgent nature, and so that is why this continued to be on the agenda in this case.
Also, I will just point of clarification, as the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, I'm not going to bring any item forward if I'm not comfortable voting on it, and the simple fact is I was not comfortable with those. I just have more questions about the bond process. So I did feel comfortable with this one, and that's enough. Are there any other questions from legislators? We'll have Legislator Bush and then Leader May.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the condition, the current condition of the roof. Did I hear it might be falling in?
Yeah, Archie is saying no.
Okay.
We've seen pictures to the contrary, but as Legislator Ryan and Archie both pointed out during facilities, if we did go with another building, we would still own this building and we would look to do something with it, and it would be more marketable if it had a working roof than not. So,
If you had this building assessed, let's say for $500,000, you put another $500,000 in it, do you think you're going to get $1 million when you put it on the market? I don't think so.
I didn't say, did someone say that?
A private contractor could put a roof on a lot less expensive than the county would do it. So I want a safe environment, and I don't want the roof to be collapsing on anybody. But I do think that we should seriously consider this as the first step to move forward with another facility in a better location.
Yes, sir. Leader May? Oh.
Statement. We're here to lead, and sometimes leading is difficult, and sometimes we have to make decisions that we're not entirely comfortable with. And there's only so much information that we can get. It's blatantly conspicuous that Oak Orchard isn't on this agenda today, as it should be. We're going round and round for months with the same questions and the same answers, and we're not moving forward. We're here to lead, guys. At some point, we're going to have to do that. So I appreciate the response I received. I don't accept it as a good enough reason not to be doing our jobs today. Thank you. And I'll be abstaining from this vote because I'm not comfortable with this process and some of the decisions that we're making. Thank you.
Sounds good. Any other questions? Legislator Burgess, sorry.
Yes, so I agree with Leader May. It is, I understand the ramifications for sure of not bringing these other bonds to the floor today. It is concerning. I am not opposed to the spend at BOE, as some are, but, you know, I've been there, I've seen it, yeah, there's water. There are a lot of challenges with that building and what's going on there for the employees, for sure. But prior to today, we did search for some resolutions, some different options for BOE, and they weren't, we didn't have anything come to the forefront. So, you know, this is our building, and so all to say, I'm not opposed to what we're doing here today, except for procedurally. I agree with the Leader May. You know, I'd like to have the other things here. They were voted, and so for that reason, I'm going to abstain today also.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? I would entertain a motion. Would anyone like to make a motion? Leader Hernandez?
Make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? Legislator Denton? All right, item 2B, all those in favor? Aye, aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? Abstain? You vote no, okay. No worries, just for the record, we have 4 ayes, 2 abstains, and 1 no. The item passes. Thank you, Archie. Next, we are going to have the Onondaga County Library talk about a 2025 transfer resolution. And we're going to have Director Perrine.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm here to ask for a transfer resolution of $55,500 from our 2025 operating budget to a facilities grant line so that we can complete the 2 masonry projects that unfortunately we were unable to in 2025.
Okay. Are there any questions from the legislators? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Leader Hernandez, is there a second? Legislator Denton? Okay, we're going to be voting on item 3A. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? Okay, the ayes had it. Item 3A is passed. Thank you so much. Next, we are going to have from the Sheriff's Office, Chief Civil Deputy Dell, who's going to be talking about a 2025 transfer resolution. Good afternoon. Thank you.
This is on,
Yep.
correct? Okay. I can never get it right.
You're fine.
So we're asking for a transfer resolution. We're asking funds to be transferred from our regular employee salary line, $1,610,890, into our 3 different lines, our overtime wage line, our other employee wages, and our contractual expenses.
Thank you. Are there any questions from legislators on this? Legislator Denton?
Is there a breakdown of like the overtime? Is it between just like the sheriff's department and the corrections, or is there a different, I was wondering if it, what the.
You're asking if there's a breakdown as like where the overtime
No, I was just wondering, like,
and different,
50% of, is it corrections or is it?
I don't have those figures, but it is broken down. I mean, I can get them to you.
That would be great.
Yep, I will, absolutely.
Okay.
Would you like it across all divisions? I'm sorry. We have 4 divisions in the Sheriff's Department? Okay, yep, I'll send it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Leader Hernandez, do we have a second? Anyone? Legislator Denton? Okay, on item 4A, we're going to vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you so much, Chief Deputy. Next, for facilities management, you voted yes. Yeah, we got you. I'm usually looking for the opposed. I believe that. You're not alone. So next, we're going to have Archie speaking about item 5A, which is a transfer resolution for facilities management.
Thank you again, folks. I guess I should have stayed right here. So today, we're asking again for the authorization for a transfer resolution that I previously brought to committee, that was approved in committee, for $262,349. That's to cover a shortage in my account. Primarily, the vast majority of it is utilities. The estimate for utilities was just short of being able to cover these funds.
I believe this came up at committee, so I'll ask it again. I feel bad because I'm doing the same thing twice. But these utility costs, are they related to the greater trend with growing utility costs? And are we able to predict for this so it doesn't happen again?
They are to a degree, right? So the rates have increased exponentially over the last 2 years.
I'm aware.
You've all felt that at your own homes. And our usage, so they get the rate and the usage, our usage also increased.
Oh.
It has been an out of the ordinary recent year, right? So we've had several mild winters, and we've estimated the costs to follow in line with what we knew were to be rate increases and consumer cost index. We just fell short, right? I mean, we spend millions of dollars in utilities every year, and a majority of it runs through facilities. We were short, this amount of money.
Thank you. Any other questions from the legislators? Legislator Burtis?
Thank you, Archie. Way back, before this was built and fixed, just to be honest, this was, back in time, this was an issue for me, concern. Got a very old building, did a great job, I'm sure of that, but as far as what it takes to heat it and then soon to cool it and to take care of things, I'm fine with this today, but it was a concern back then based on just efficiencies. So, $250,000 is pretty, it's a pretty healthy miss, but I'm sure that, and hopeful that adjustments could be made, and that as you go forward, you get a history of how this goes, and so we can budget better for it. But I appreciate it.
I appreciate that, Mr. Legislator. Again, we're not always told enough in advance of a potential rate increase from National Grid. This is where these costs are. If it doesn't hit our budget cycle at the estimating period, we have difficulties there.
Christie? Or Deputy? Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Item 5A? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion. I read the book. Leader Hernandez, second. Legislator Denton, okay. Voting on item 5A, all those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you, Archie. Now we are going to go to Department of Social Services for a transfer resolution where I believe CFO Smiley will be presenting. All right, thank you. It's good to know. Yeah, take it away.
Okay, so as discussed in the committee this morning, we're asking for a $280,000 transfer to grant. This is related to computers in the social service arena, so that's children, family, economic security, and adult long-term care. New York State requires that about a quarter of them get turned over every year. There's a 4-year cycle now in which we have to turn these computers over, or they cannot maintain and update the software on our system. This will approximately turn over about 325, I believe, like I said, computers. So we're asking for that to be transferred out of surplus funds that they had within their department budget. So no request for additional dollars, just reallocating these dollars to be able to move forward with this, which we've done the last several years.
Thank you. Any questions from the legislators? Seeing none, I'll entertain the motion. Legislator Burtis, do we have a second? Leader Hernandez. On item 6A, we'll be voting. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. So now we'll go to item 7A, WEP 2025 transfer resolution.
Sure, so two components to this transfer. One, similar to facilities, there's a transfer of just over $1.1 million for utilities. WEP is primarily our biggest utility user, so obviously exponentially higher in terms of those rates. Again, you'll see their budget next year, significant increase in that line that should cover this. The second component is into their all other expense account, which we've talked about with hauling sludge for that. So just right-sizing those, all again being able to be taken care of in their existing budget, asking to move those funds around to close the 2025 books.
Okay. Just as a person who doesn't know, the numbers are big.
They are huge.
But I understand it's necessary.
You are not wrong.
Investment. Are there any questions from the legislators? Okay, seeing none, I will, question or motion?
Question.
Question.
Comment.
Comment. Leader May.
I'll be abstaining from this. I get it. I totally get it. But I can't responsibly vote on an item that was discussed in a prior meeting when I'm knowingly scheduled for a meeting on the other side of the door. Okay, so that's what happened today. The comment is, it seems like we're putting legislator, education, in order of our process ahead of results, and I would like to see us start moving forward back to the theme I mentioned earlier. Today, was not a good example of how things should go, and I'm disappointed in that. I'm disappointed that politics seem to rule the day, and I'm really hoping and looking forward to us doing better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Leader May.
Chairman.
Yep.
Can we get legal advice on abstaining from votes? Isn't there supposed to be a personal conflict in order to abstain?
Don't know the rule off the top of my head, but I can figure it out if you want to do a quick recess, or I can follow up after the meeting.
I don't think it's necessary for this vote, but if you can follow up after the meeting, I believe there's restrictions as to when abstaining can happen due to, requirement of having to vote.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm abstaining, regardless of the rule.
I will break
Just to be
the law.
clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from legislators? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion for item 7A. I see Leader Hernandez. Do we have a second? Legislator Bush. Okay. So all those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you, CFO Smiley. And next, we will have item 8A, which is a discussion of corresponding outside boards and commissions. And we're going to review and discussion of appointments to outside boards. We're going to have Chairwoman Watts who's going to speak to us. Chairwoman.
Hello, everyone. As discussed in our last Ways and Means Committee meeting, we have matched each of the outside boards and commissions that we are responsible as a legislator to either appoint or to confirm to one of our standing committees. And so I want to just briefly run through the ones that are attached here to Ways and Means, focusing on the ones where we need to make some decisions. The first is the Board of Ethics, which was recently, there were some of those appointments recently made, so there are not any of those spots currently open. The second is the Charter Conflict Committee, which we are still working on further details related to that in terms of those appointments, so we will be circling back with more details. The Onondaga County Syracuse Commission on Human Rights, however, has 2 vacancies currently that we would like to get filled. Those are the legislature appointments that are made to this committee. And so as is going to be true for all of these, if you could please send any kind of resumes or names that you have that you would like to suggest for any of these committees to both your committee chair, so in this case Legislator Brown, and myself, then we will be able to review those and put forward appointment resolutions. So that is for the Onondaga County Syracuse Commission on Human Rights. And there is also the Deferred Compensation Committee is also attached to this, and it has 2 appointments, 3 members of the county legislature, including our chair of Ways and Means, as well as 1 appointment being made by the minority leader and 1 by the majority leader. So leaders, if you could please get me which legislators you would like to appoint to the Deferred Compensation Committee, that would be greatly appreciated. Those are the ones that are currently matched with Ways and Means. Does anyone have any questions? All right, I open.
Seeing none, we will move to item 8B, which is the appointment of Chad Ryan to the Onondaga County Jury Board.
Yes. So we discussed this in previous committee. However, we did not have a chance to actually vote on it, so we brought it to Ways and Means instead. Legislator Ryan, is there anything you'd like to say related to that?
Okay. Are there any comments or questions from legislators? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion for item 8B. Oh, I'm so sorry, Ken. There is a motion from Leader Hernandez. However, Ken has a question. Oh, you're voting to move it, sorry. I didn't know if you had a question. All right, so we'll have a motion from Legislator Bush and a second from Leader May on the item of 8B. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Yep, we are going to be adjourning this meeting till next month, sorry. Do we need a motion to adjourn? Oh, yeah, can I get a motion to adjourn? Okay, we have Legislator Denson and then a second from Legislator Burtis. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned at 2:08 p.m. Thank you.